what are we doing? So we'll start with the hand. You want to be doing some type of radial deviation, right? So I have just a pin stack here. This is like 20 pounds or so. Wrap it around your hand, just like this. Okay, and we're doing 30 to 50 reps. Yeah, so how much weight is it? How much weight do I need to use? Whatever you can consistently hit 30 to 50 reps at. 50 is better, but sometimes it's just not practical to get 50 reps depending on the tools that you have for training. So I put the 30 in there. That's still a really high range for blood flow, and it's also part of the hypertrophy optimal range as well, so it doesn't hurt you any. So yeah, radial deviation, you know, so I'll sit here and I'll do 50 of these. You probably see my videos. And then same thing for pronation. I'll do 50 of these. And then you want to, once you're done with that, you want to do ulnar deviation, right? So you can get a strap, or I mean a band, and do ulnar deviation, right? You want to do 50 of these. And then you want to do supination, right? Same thing. You can get a band, take the pressure off the arm, and do 50 of these. There's all different ways to train these muscle groups, so whatever works best for you. You know, there's little devices and stuff you can get. There's things at Best Big Five, you know, any little trinket or whatever you can find or whatever to make this and this and this easier. Buy it and use it. Remember, we're doing like 30 to 50 reps here. You can do this all off a pulley, doesn't matter. So after we've worked the rise, the ulnar deviation, pronation, and supination, we're going to move on. And the next thing is your finger extension, right? This is what gives you a thick hand, right? And the thicker your hand is, the harder it is for people to hold on to it, you know? And if you've been arm wrestling for a while, you always know what it is when you grab someone with like a big thick hand and you're like, you know, it's like, they're gonna top roll me, you know, I can't get a good grip on them. So the hand is a part of your body that you can make bigger. And a lot of what I'm gonna show you today is gonna help make your hand bigger. So this is called a Ranger band. A real Ranger band is just a piece of inner tube that you cut a section out of. And people use it for many things. You put it around your rifle to secure your strap, things like that, all types of stuff. But you can buy this on, you can buy these, like I said, Ranger band from Amazon, and it comes in a whole bags of different sizes and thicknesses. It's pretty cool. So I just have a bunch of these. But you're gonna put it around your fingers, and you're gonna open your hand like this. Okay, you see how my fingers are bent when I'm doing this? I'm not doing this, and the band isn't sliding down the back of my fingers. It's right on my fingernails, right? My fingers have an arch in them, and that's the rep. Find a size or thickness of band where you can do this 30 to 50 times, right? And that's just gonna get all of these muscles on the back of your hand, some of the muscles that are between your bones and your finger. And then once you do that, once you burn out on that, you get your 50, you're gonna put it around your fingers like this, and you're gonna open like this, right? A lot of things work this muscle, but it's gonna work these muscles here. And then when this finger goes up, that's gonna work this muscle, right? That's gonna work this muscle on the back of your hand. And when you try this at home, you can feel it. It's hard as a rock here. So this muscle gets bigger by doing this, okay? And this happens when you're rising up through somebody's hand, you know, your finger's not just getting pushed over, you're keeping that pressure, right? And that's what makes this muscle group bigger, by doing this. And if this is big and thick, it makes it hard for people to get their hand on the back of your hand. You know, instead of like this, it's thick, you're gonna be more out here, and it's a good platform for you to get into somebody's fingers, all right? So 30 to 50 reps of that, and then just burn out on this. Maybe it's like 10, 20. You're probably gonna be all trashed from doing this, so 10, 20, 30, whatever you can get on this. And then we move on to wrist flexion, okay? Wrist flexion. There's so many ways to work this. Like I said, you can get those little wrist things on Amazon or Big Five, or you can just get one of these handles They have them at the gym. This is a country cross. I don't really use this that much. I use other things, but you know, they have these at the gym normally with just normal handles. And you just sit there and do both. And just do 30 to 50 reps, right? Get a massive pump in here. That's how you get this big part of the forearm here. And there's a line here because it's like coming off of the bone. It's for blasting wrist curls. And it really, if you have a weak wrist, you're always losing your wrist. 30 to 50 reps for wrist flexion is going to change your life. Because not only lifting heavy with that, these need to be massive, like as big as they can possibly be, and it really improves your wrist integrity. Okay, so now that you've done your wrist, this is all burned up, then you can move on to gripper work. You saw me earlier doing heavy singles with the gripper, and then I use it for my recovery. Does grip strength help in arm wrestling? It can. It can. If you need to defeat somebody outside of the strap because of a style difference or a strength that they have within the strap that maybe you don't have, if you have an iron grip and you can prevent them from slipping, you're going to beat people who try and slip out, right? They're going to be like this, right? And you're holding onto their thumb, and there's not a lot they can do here. And if you bring your shoulder forward over their hand, they're going to lose. They're going to lose. You can't pull from here. Okay, this is a slip position. They can try and come back in, and that's something different. But if you have a really strong grip, that's one benefit from training grip. The other benefit is it makes your hand bigger, right? There's a lot of pressure on these heavy grippers going into your hand, and it hurts, okay, when you use them. But the more you use them, the thicker your hand is going to get, you know? Look at all this hanging off the side here of this gripper. So it's going to make your hand thicker, and it's just going to overall condition your hand, and it's going to make your hand overall stronger. Now, is it a huge direct translation over to the table? No, but it is making your hand bigger and stronger and you know, thicker. The only translation is holding on to someone in a slip. Usually not a great idea. Most people can get out of it. If a person has a very long thumb or a thin thumb, it's going to be difficult for them to slip, or if they're not as fast as you, it's going to be difficult. So I do think there's value in grip. You have to be careful when you're training grip because you can injure yourself. You can get this pain right here in your wrist because people tend to really come down when they squeeze, and that's going to put a stress here, or you know, it's tough and like it's rough on your bones in your hands. So if you don't work with your hands for a living, you're not used to really using your hands, then it's going to take some time to be able to use grippers like this all the time. But if you work with your hands, you swing hammers, all that stuff, I mean, your hands are stone anyway, so you probably don't even need to worry about grippers. I work at a computer, so I use grippers to help with general conditioning and strengthening of my hand. So when I do earlier for the singles, I told you don't put the gripper here, put it up here, right? So for the hypertrophy, for the blood flow conditioning workouts, I put the gripper down here and I put my fingertips on the handle. It's just my fingertips, right? Just like this. And then, so it's really just working this pressure, containment pressure. You know, and I'll do 30 to 50 reps of this. This is the Captain's Crest G. This is their lightest gripper, I think. You don't need a lot of weight here. You're really just trying to blow up your hand. And 30 to 50 reps of this will definitely blow up your hand, especially after you've done a bunch of wrist curls. Okay, after this, we have wrist extension. I don't know if you can see my knee here. I'll bring it up a little bit, but the next one is wrist extensions. This is about 8 pounds, and you just start down here and you come all the way up, full range of motion, right? I do 30 on these. By the time I get to 30, it's super burning back up here. I wouldn't go heavy on this movement because it's a good way to get tennis elbow. Tennis elbow is a pain in this area, right? And it comes from when you play tennis, when you go on the backstroke and you hit the ball or whatever, you know, it does a sharp a spike, you know, pressure down like this, and that just stretches these out. And so if you have pain here, you probably have tennis elbow. So you can get that from doing like heavy reverse curls or heavy wrist extensions, or if you grab something really wide like this and lift it up. Like one time I just grabbed the top of a car battery and lifted it up. It was a small one. And yeah, I got tennis elbow from that. And you'll have it for months. So avoid that if you can, going heavy on that. One more movement here. This is just a racquetball. You can do with whatever you can squish with your thumb, up to 30 to 50 times, right? And I just hold it like this. I have 2 of them, and that's it. I'll do 50 reps of this, and I'm sure you're pretty smart and you can imagine what this is working. But if you want to hear about it, it's going to work this part of your hand and other muscles. It does work this area too, so the back of your hand and this. There's a lot of muscles in your thumb, and what's beneficial is about having this area big and this area big is when somebody's gripping your hand. If this is big, their hand's gonna come out like this, right? Because they can't get all the way in. And the more their hand comes this way, the less coverage they have on the back of your wrist, right? So if this is big, then it's going to make it harder for them to get their hand around the back of their wrist and control your pronation and your back pressure. The other reason why this is important is in the setup. So when you're gripping up with somebody, right, your thumb is pushing the other person's hand down below your hand, right? And it's not letting them get up, right? So you're gonna have height. The same in a top roll. If you're top rolling somebody, right, and you're coming like this, if your thumb is weak, if your thumb can't hold the other person's hand down, when you try and top roll, it's just gonna come up, right? It's just gonna come up. You want to push the other person's hand down like that. If it's weak, you're just gonna go like that, right? So the thumb is mega, super important. And especially if you cap. If you're capping, guys, if you get a really tight grip, you know, if you ever had somebody get all the way around your thumb and get their grip, you can see your knuckle, but you know, your hand is just like you can't do anything with it. You can't get around their hand or anything. That person has a very strong thumb, and they've just locked around your thumb and your hand into their position, and then you're just like, you're screwed. So you need to have a strong thumb to be able to fight guys like that. And this type of movement is really good for that. There's also plate curls. With the thumb, you can do plate curls. I don't like stuff like this. I feel like it's hard for me to get into a groove. And, you know, I'm working a lot of other muscle groups, and, you know, the weight's way out there. I like the ball because it's controlled and it's tight, and I'm just right there with it, right? And I can do it fast. I don't want to sit here all day. Okay, that's pretty much everything for conditioning.